Okay, guys, I'm gonna show a little bit about what I did to the Fortitude trigger to make it better. I There's a couple videos online already showing taking it apart, so I'm not gonna go over that. But what I did was I added this screw right here. The Fortitude comes with no adjustment, so I added this screw and I added this screw. Those holes are already there, and those are M3 screws that are 5/8 long. So I added those so I can adjust the trigger where it stops at, and I can also adjust the sear, how much it's jumping, and give it a first or a second stage. It can be a two-stage trigger or a single stage now. And with doing that, you can actually get this pretty light, like 7 ounces. I don't have a gauge, but I just know by feel, by doing field target, kind of how light it is, and I've gotten it way light, but I'm setting this gun up to be a loaner gun for our club. So I wanted to see how light I could get it, but I also wanted to make it safe for a new shooter so it doesn't just go off. So I've actually tightened it back up a little bit to about a pound, maybe a little over a pound, a couple ounces, just to make sure that it wouldn't accidentally go off, on a with a new shooter that's going to be handling this gun. But I took and I polished this area up here, right there where it meets the bolt, drops the sear, and I polished this, and I polished these areas, and I polished right here a little bit. So it makes that a lot smoother. Those parts are stamped out of metal, and they're pretty rough. So I polished those, and this was my first attempt at polishing, but it actually come out pretty good. And I also bent this spring, that little nook you see in it, right there. Let me get it out here. You can see I put a little bend in it right there, and you don't need to put a lot because once you it doesn't need a lot. There's not a lot of tension on it anyway. If you go too far, the safety won't work. And I didn't want to take the safety out of this gun again because it's going to be a loaner gun. And then this spring right here, I actually changed this spring. This is the factory spring, and you can't even hardly squeeze it. I believe this is the main thing that's making this trigger so hard, is this stiff spring that returns the trigger back. So what I did was took a ballpoint pen, and I got this idea off. Most of these ideas come from a couple other guys on YouTube, but I just wanted to explain what I was doing because I'm setting this one up for a field target loaner. So I really wanted to trigger way light, and so this was a ballpoint pen. I bought a pack of them at the Dollar Tree for $1, and I just took the spring out and I cut it in half. I cut it to be the same length as the factory spring. And it's a lot weaker spring, but it still has enough pressure to return the trigger. So, and that's what I've done, and it has really fixed the trigger on this Fortitude. The trigger comes between 5 and 7 pounds, and which is way too much on the trigger. I understand they do it for safety reasons. Most people might be out in the woods and drop this gun and it go off, and then they have a lawsuit. But for what I'm using the gun for, we like real light triggers, so I done this mod and it brought the trigger down. I actually added, I know it was less than a pound, but I stiffened it back up just for safety reasons of it's going to be a loaner gun and new shooters may be using it. So I just wanted to give y'all a little idea of what I did there, and I am going to go back. I have some super lube. It's in a gray tube. I don't have it with me right now, but I'll be lubing up all these pins just lightly, barely put a little bit of lube on them, and lube up around there, and then I'm gonna lube each one of the points that has friction to make it even lighter. But that's what I've done to this trigger, and it's made it an adjustable trigger. Plus, it's made it a very usable trigger for field target. So I just wanted to let you guys see what I've done, and I hope you enjoyed the video.